My name is Courtney Colson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. On this episode, we have uncovered some long lost ancient footage of myself when I was transgender, and there really isn't that much that I have left of my transgender days. There's a playlist on this channel somewhere of the few appearances I made, but otherwise, yeah, I lost all my photos, all the videos, and that is a bit of a long story because everything in my life is. But to get quickly to the point, when I was trans, I deleted my Facebook account because I didn't want to have any memory or evidence of being cisgender, my female days, so I deleted all of it. I backed all that up onto a hard drive. But then, of course, that hard drive, as you might recall, long-time viewers, there was a burglary a few years ago, so it was stolen then. And then the other thing happened is, so I was using an iPhone when I was trans, which makes sense, just a filthy consumerist. It kind of follows. Now, well, this is my phone now. I got the bloody Nokia flip phone. It's green and gold, just like my car. But before I woke up and realized that phones were better when I was in primary school, I went over to Google Pixel because a mate of mine, he worshipped Google. He said, "Oh, they're amazing, do no evil." No, they do evil. Actually, they are stealing all of our data. So I migrated from the iPhone to the Pixel. So I just left the iCloud. I had all my photos from my transgender years, my Connor years, in there. And I just assumed they'd be safe. About a year passed, I opened it up again, or no, it would have been a few years because I detransitioned and I wanted those old photos. Couldn't find it anywhere because in my iCloud, everything was erased, seemingly. But then it said I had 2 gigabytes used. Okay, so where is that 2 gigabytes? And specifically, you go into the photos, 1.7 gigabytes of photos. Okay, that should be all of it. Where is it? And so every few years, this is nearly 10 years now, it's probably about 2017. Every few years I'll remember and I'll contact Apple and I'll go through the same rigmarole, which is very similar to what I go through when I visit a doctor, especially for the first time, where they say, that's interesting, I haven't encountered this before. You're a very unusual case. Let me go talk to my manager. Let's get back to you and we'll figure this out. They never do. This is the third time. Last week, this was the third time of the exact same routine. Very strange. Let's go through the usual troubleshooting things. Well, that doesn't work if this is more than a few weeks since the data disappeared. They can do this data recovery, but that's only if it's a recent event. But why I mention all this is, well, I opened up the iCloud, and there was something in there. So there's always been some PDFs that were sitting, just old doctors' receipts and scans and results and stuff. But now there suddenly was a video that wasn't there before. And it was a video of me when I was trans. And I thought, oh, amazing, let's look at this. I want to know what I was like. And so I've only quickly scrubbed through this to see what it is, and I really don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out as we watch, but I don't have any context of why I filmed this or who I was speaking to. It seems like I was auditioning for something, but yeah, let's watch it together, shall we? Hi, I'm Courtney Colson. I am 25 years old, and I have been on testosterone for nearly 2 years now. So he, she, it is going by Courtney, and I remember I didn't change my name to Connor until quite late in the game. It was probably about a year before I detransitioned that I finally caved when actually I want to change my name to Connor. I've been playing Detroit Become Human, so I really relate to Connor, and I was insane. But then it was only about a year later that I went, this is all bullshit, and I hate all of this. I'm just going to go back to Courtney. So then I'd be, 24, 25. And they say your prefrontal cortex finishes developing at 25. And Honestly, yeah, once I hit 25, I was suddenly thinking differently and I was regretting things and going, I think this is not working. I think this is kind of shit, actually. I want to quit. Oh, yeah, put the light on my face, that helps. Also, what's with the way I'm talking? It's like I'm really over enunciating and it's a little bit British or maybe like a Stewie Griffin kind of thing going on. I don't know. Because I really hadn't filmed myself that much. I wasn't used to it. And I've said so much. It's only 7 seconds. I've already said so much, and I think it's because throughout my life I used to talk really fast, and then someone told me I was talking too fast. Okay, I'll slow down, and then someone said you talk too slow. Okay, I'll speed up again. So now I'm just kind of talking in whatever speed matches my mood, I guess. So I'm a bit more self aware and know how to communicate effectively. Oh, and I just before I keep watching, we're only 7 seconds in, but yeah, my face. There's a lot of. I think that's fluid retention. I've got quite a fat face. I mean, it got worse. Trust me, it got worse. But yeah, just like a fuller, fatter face, and there's a lot of pimples and stubble along there. I've had laser hair removal, but yeah, along here there's a lot of stubborn hair. I still got to pluck some hairs out now and then, and you can kind of feel it, but very minute. And yeah, I never had problems with body hair or facial hair. Some women always do. Doesn't matter if they have PCOS or take testosterone, whatever. No, I had no issues, but now I've given myself the problem. Moron. But I feel like I'm the dark future version of this character here, this round baby faced moron. You know, I got the eye patch, I got the lip piercing. Like this is my tough post apocalypse badass look, or maybe more of a corpo, cyberpunk look. And it was funny. I was trying so hard to pass as a man, and I didn't change my name because I was saying, well, Courtney's a man's name. I was really trying to push that idea. Like, guys, everyone remember that it's a man's name, right? Like, Ashley's a man's name. But no one was buying it. And then, even when I changed my name to Connor, a lot of people suspected or assumed I was a woman. And then now I've detransitioned. I get accused more of being trans now than I did then because I think a lot of people aren't even aware of trans men. They're aware of trans women. They're very afraid, of these men disguising themselves as women. And so I guess that's where I get misgendered because they think I am a man trying to pass as a woman. I'm going, but I dress so androgynous or masculinely, and I got a mullet and all that. I guess ignorant people don't know the difference between a butch woman and an effeminate man. Like I don't know any trans women who are trying to be butch women. No, they're trying to be porn stars, basically. A lot of them are, very sexualized versions of women. I am not, clearly. I feel like my perspective is quite unique because I'm autistic and asexual. You're not autistic and you're definitely not asexual. No, you're not. But yeah, I was definitely on that conveyor belt, the pipeline for the whole trans thing. Like, I was the perfect candidate for this, that I had all these behavioral and mental health issues, which I now know is trauma, because my mother has Munchausen's by proxy. Oh yeah, I got a whole update video I got to do about autism. So I don't really know if what I had could constitute as autism anymore. I had something wrong with me, and the carnivore diet did help. But now, going through my childhood medical records, no, my mum decided I was autistic and kind of drilled that into me and allowed these behaviors to manifest and exacerbate to the point that I remember my father said, oh, since you've been diagnosed, your behavior's been way worse. Because obviously I felt entitled to just give up and behave however I wanted. Case in point, transitioning and doing all this stupid shit. And asexuality. I mean, well, my mum was just, and society was just giving me all the wrong ideas. I mean, no one really. The sex talk is just about how not to get pregnant and raped. But It was never. See, I ended up reading Betty Dodson. She's amazing. She's a sexologist who she was around for ages, from about the 70s, I think. Yeah, no one had that sex talk with me of just like get a vibrator and just relax, put on some music, turn the lights down, just chill, just kind of meditate and get into it and see what happens. Just get to know your own body. And that's the thing that is quite ironic about this whole trans movement, not to go on too much of a tangent there, but it is hypersexualized and yet so sexless. You know, to the trans women, they'll be out here grooming kids and they'll be dressing like prostitutes, as I mentioned. But trans-identified women, trans men, a lot of them have a history of trauma, like myself. I don't have sexual trauma, thankfully, but yeah, a lot of them do have sexual trauma. So they are transitioning to men and cutting their breasts off and cutting their genitals off to be left alone, to be safe, to escape from the male gaze. And so yeah, a lot of them identify as asexual, and a lot of them are neurospicy, you know, neurodiverse, autistic, ADHD, whatever. And yeah, it's all part of this complete package of an infantilized adult, a disempowered, infantilized adult who is being given this escape, this outlet to become exceptional and to escape accountability. You become trans. No, you aren't going to be victimized. You're going to be able to do whatever you want. The world will bend over backwards because they're afraid you're going to sue them. And before I transitioned, most of the stories out there in the documentaries or the books or online are full of tragedy and trauma, and that was quite scary for someone who wasn't sure yet or was about to come out. And I think it must be that way for many other people as well. So my story is essentially that it really does get better. Yeah, no, it gets worse and worse and worse. So this is, oh God, 2 years into it. I don't, no, because I'm already, yeah, no, I'm trying to put this into the timeline here. But you know, I've already gained a lot of weight. I'm constantly sweating. I stink. I'm bloated. I have all these gut issues. I have all these emotional issues. It's just, you know, but you're still riding this high of, in those first few months, you know, you're on testosterone. It's a hell of a drug. You're on a steroid, basically. You're bodybuilding. You're getting huge in terms of muscle. But then when things start falling apart and I'm gaining a lot of weight and fluid and all of that, and it's just, no, it's still good. It's still all good. It's fine. I'm just a little bit fat. It's still good. It's still good. You know, I'm just a little stinky. Still good. Still good. It's that sunk cost fallacy. I think that's what you see across the trans community a lot. It's just this sunk cost fallacy. You blind yourself to, oh no, you put the eye patch, you put the blinkers on. Oh no, it's fine. This is still working. This is okay. Don't look at all. Yeah, it definitely did not get better. And also, looking at all the tragedy and trauma and stuff. Yeah, because there were a lot of these videos that were pro-trans of, oh, if you don't transition, you'll commit suicide, and the people who did transition, but they were so bullied and hated, they ended up killing themselves. It was just like suicide all over the place. It's all freaking bullshit. My story is long and complicated, but it wasn't even that long and complicated yet, actually. The more exciting things happen. Like, this here is I like to imagine Luke Skywalker on Tatooine. Like, he cares about blue milk and going to Tashi Station. You know, he doesn't know about Death Stars and Darth Vader yet. I'll keep it as simple as possible, that I still have a very loving, supporting family. No. I know, I keep doing that laugh. It's just like, oh, the the blinkers are on. My blind spots are huge, and no, but even like that is a lie. That is just an outright lie. I don't know if I was lying to myself or I was lying to whoever I was submitting this to, but no, my family fucking hated me, and they especially hate me now. Um, yeah, they did not support me at all. They did not want me to transition. They didn't get it. They thought I was an idiot. They bullied me. And so at that point when I'm filming it, it's more of they're just resigned to this situation of, well, yeah, she's lost the plot, she's cut her hair, she's fat and sweaty and sort of masculine. All right. And friends, and actually, I lost a lot of friends when I transitioned, and then when I detransitioned, I lost all the friends I made when I transitioned because they were only friends with me for political reasons. I was just a means to their political end. I'm going well with my studies as a librarian. Yeah, so I was studying to be a librarian because so I could study it online. I wanted to have like a decent career, and at that point, being all introverted and autistic and geeky, it was yeah. And I had a few friends who were librarians. But I was like, oh yeah, that kind of quiet job would be good for me. Just that would bore the hell out of me. I'm a seamstress. I like to constantly be making something, doing something with my hands. I never ended up finishing that librarianship degree, although it was very useful. Never finished it because I became so ill on testosterone. I just had chronic fatigue, so I'd be trying to read, get something. Oh god, trying to keep my eyes open to read, and this is before I knew about, or they even had, the text to speech kind of thing. Because I could have just lay there and just listened to articles being read, but I don't even think I could have focused and absorbed anything at that point. I don't think I'll go back and finish that degree. I don't think I really need it. But I will say, it wasn't a waste of time, even though I've got, that hex debt, which I don't have to pay back. But it taught me, I think it's the thing that helped me, one of the things that helped me detransition. Because it helped me to finally learn how to do real, proper academic bloody research. Because before I transitioned, I did what most people probably did. This is before AI, thank God. But yeah, I just Googled and just looked at everything on that first page. And, everything was telling me that, transition was safe and it was easy and it was amazing and it was liberating, blah, blah, blah. Nothing could possibly go wrong. So I bought into it. And same thing with my family, where they were concerned and they were trying to research it and everything. They were like, you got to let them transition, otherwise they're going to kill themselves. Well, okay then. But now I know how to actually look up and through the scientific literature. I know how to gain access to all this stuff that really shouldn't be behind a paywall, but it is. So now I can see, hang on, the real studies on transitioning, the success rate is actually very low. Especially with the surgery. I mean, especially phalloplasty has an over 70% complication rate. Do you know any surgery where a doctor would proceed if the complication rate was that high? Do you know of any patient who would proceed if the complication rate was that high? And I've been running a business, Travian Designs, for many years now. I make costumes, I do clothing alterations, and I make the dolls that you see behind you here. This is Dr. Travian's Supernatural Orphanage. I take Monster High dolls and make them a bit more monstrous. I am also writing a story about these characters with the same name, Dr. Travian. It's a Victorian Gothic horror with a pseudo-scientific twist. Yeah, so still Travian Designs is the website I am still using, and these characters here part of my Dr. Travian novel that I've been working on with my friend Stephanie for I don't even want to know how long. We first came up with the idea, so for 10, it had to be 10, it'll be 11, 12 years ago now, yeah. 2015. Oh, so when did Monster High come out? Because as you can see, it was inspired by Monster High, and a lot of people were customizing. These were really cheap dolls, and you could buy a heap of them for almost nothing, especially secondhand. So I did. I bought a heap, and I created these characters. It was like playing with dolls the way you did as a kid, but inventing these new characters and being more artistically creative. And so yeah, I built this business and I created each one of these characters and I sold versions of these dolls through my Etsy account. Did sell many, but people liked them. And yeah, just I wanted to. Well, initially I wanted to write these little booklets for each one of the dolls, and they have a little backstory. And then it just kept growing and growing because I wasn't really a good writer at the time, so I couldn't come up with just like a little blurb. It was just I don't. How do I even write a story? And I don't know what these characters should be. And so yeah, Stephanie and I just kept talking and talking, and it grew and grew and grew. And I want these to be a really dark adult version of this concept. So all these characters. I want an all-female cast based on these universal horror monsters, not necessarily the daughter of Dracula or Frankenstein's monster or any of those. I just wanted a group of female monsters. I just thought that would be cool. And so yeah, Dr. Travian, Mother of Monsters, a novel that look, I'm nearly finished with my memoir and then I can put my full attention into it. But I've written the outline for it, where it is the fictional epistolary biography of a cryptoanthropologist and photographess from the 19th century. And she rescues all of these monsters. And so I'm trying to make it, well, sort of feminist, but also as scientifically and historically accurate as possible. Because I feel a lot of these genre stories pull their punches and go for the cliches and the cheap tropes. So yeah, this has been a labor of love for well over a decade now. And yeah, looking at these toys, I'm a 33-year-old woman, so I don't... Well, okay, hang on. I say I don't need toys anymore, but they rebooted... That's how long this has been going. They rebooted Monster High. And so this is the newer version of the Yeti, and she's much bulkier, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. If I can only have one doll, I want it to be this one, and I will customize that to look like my Yeti character, Bola Ma. Oh, and the horns are blue tack, actually. Because there are horns on there, but they're very little, so I was just like, nah, let's get some big motherfuckers there. Yeah, looking at these dolls, fond memories, but it's not like, oh, I wish I kept them. No, I sold all of them to a very demanding Russian girl. She paid very little for postage, and then was fretting when it was taking months to get, like, yeah, that's what you paid for. But yeah, it was something that got me through that time. It was a hobby that I enjoyed. I don't have any time for any more hobbies anymore. So, but that was the other thing too. I'm playing with dolls while I was trans, and you notice this with a lot of trans-identified women is they're not very manly. You'll notice this about both trans men and trans women, especially the autogynephiles or the autoandrophiles, where they're just heterosexuals, but they like pretending to be the opposite sex. So in their regular life, they have very gender appropriate interests. So, I was transgender, but I still, was very interested in fashion and grooming and my hair and all of that. And my interior decorating. I had a Sherlock Holmes themed bedroom, although it wasn't fully set up there. You can see there's a map rolled up in the corner, propped up there. And yeah, I was playing with dollies, and yeah, it was just... And thinking very in terms of the inner world and emotions and interpersonal connections the way that only women do. I've always been very creative, writing, drawing, sewing, sculpting, you name it. Drawing, sewing, sculpting. What are you doing? I just have a natural affinity for that. So I guess on the other hand, my transition experience as a cosplayer is probably something that's quite unique, and being able to express and explore gender through costume. It's called a fetish. I mean, hella, his big boss. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit hard when I wear that. Overall, I would like to show that it's not so scary, that transitioning is a great thing. I have been part of a project called Human Libraries, so I am a human book, and we go to all these different events to tell our stories, answer any questions people may have but are too uncomfortable to ask otherwise, and show that, yeah, it really does get better. That's the end of the video, but yeah. So I was a human book in a human library, and oh god, I have nightmares about that now because I feel so guilty. These distressed parents were coming to me going, "Oh, my kid suddenly decided they're trans. What do I do?" And I was going, it's perfectly fine. You just gotta accept them, and they if they say they're trans, they're really trans, and blah blah blah. No, I feel so sorry for them. And I hope they are okay and the kids are okay. And so yeah, this is why I do what I do, and I make videos like this, and I hope they do start human libraries again. It's defunct now, or at least the Perth one. I emailed well, they tried to turn it into something. They called it Elephant in the Room. They tried a new version of it, and then that never took off. And then I emailed that email address asking, "Hey, is this still a thing? Can we make it a thing?" No, but I also happen to know the woman who's been sitting on who's URL squatting on the humanlibraries.au URL because she had the same idea for a human library before the main one. I think in Denmark, the guy who came up with the original one. So who knows? Maybe she and I can come together and make another human libraries. But yeah, she contacted me because her daughter is having the full on transgender freak out and being an asshole. So that is the 2 minutes and 22 seconds we have recovered of young Mr. Connor Colson there. And I guess this would be about 10 years ago now. That's wild. My eyebrows are actually bushier there. I just realized. So this, I don't pluck them or anything, but that's my natural eyebrow shape, and they did get fuller. The fatness and the fullness in the face, which I think maybe some of that is just youth as well. I did notice that once I turned 30, because I thought, surely it's not that much of a dramatic change. No, once you turn 30, your skin texture changes, and all the what they call the buccal fat that kind of it drops there and there. Oh, it's a bit more hollow, and okay. So yeah, you do get that harder face. So I hope you enjoyed this. Long, short, I don't know. This went longer than I expected. So it is technically a full episode now. It's about half an hour long. This was a rare look into my past self. And, well, how do I feel about it? I'm trying to put it into words. I really don't recognize this person. And hopefully you watching this, you can see I'm a very different person. And I wish my family could see that, because that was something I ran up against all the time. That they just refused to see how much I'd evolved over the course of my life. They always saw me as that stupid kid, and or that crazy kid who had this whole transgender delusion. But now, on the other side of this, it is quite a privilege to look back and see with such clarity who I used to be. I think about it before we had cameras. You didn't, or people weren't really filming themselves that much. You didn't have such a perfect, pristine recollection of the past. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Does that make us too self-conscious or too self-aware? I don't know, but I will say in my case, I'm glad the iCloud gremlin decided to cough this one up for me. because I can just see how far I've come and how much healthier I am. Like, just even look at the quality of my skin. I don't think that's anything to do with lighting so much as just the health and glow of my skin now versus what it was back then. I was sick. I was very sick in terms of I had this horrible home life that I couldn't escape. And transitioning was the closest thing I had to escaping. I was deluding myself. I was playing another character. I wanted to be special. I wanted to be something I wasn't. And I am perfectly special. Aren't I? I'm perfectly interesting. I was just a kid. I hadn't lived a life yet. I didn't have an experience. And that goes for writing fiction. I couldn't write Dr. Travian because I hadn't lived a life. I had nothing to say. I was just this lost kid who was trying to figure herself out and trying on different costumes, metaphorically and literally. So now, yeah, I'd absolutely say my 30s, despite nearly fucking dying a few times so far. I'm 33 years old and I had a couple of near-death experiences, hit by 2 cars, had internal bleeding from food poisoning. I mean, yeah, honestly, it's all part of the story. It's all interesting. It all makes you stronger. And my 30s have been the best part of my life so far. 13 going on 30 wasn't joking. 30s are where it's at. It's pretty great. I've got all this freedom. I've got all these savings. And I've got all this experience I can look back on. And I think I just have this greater perspective and self-awareness to realize all these things in my head as a teenager and in my 20s. And I want to instill that on my young audience. You think life is so big and overwhelming and confusing, and yet at the same time you have this arrogance that you think you've got it all figured out. No, just wait. This is why transitioning absolutely should not be for anyone under the age of at least 25, but I would say 30. You've got a lot to learn. You got a long way to go. Alright, that about covers it. See ya, Space Cowboy.